Hello, it's Lorna. I just wanted to make a quick video sharing with you 10 of the main lifestyle changes I've made this year to help manage PoTS. For those of you who don't know, PoTS stands for Postural, Orthostatic, Tachycardia syndrome, and it's a dysfunction of the autonomic nervous system which affects the heart and basically all the different parts of the body. I'll link some information below about PoTS, and I have made other videos explaining a bit more about what it is and what the symptoms are like. A bit of a disclaimer, a lot of these lifestyle changes I've picked up from other people. Some of them I've kind of discovered for myself, but I found the PoTS UK website really helpful on this front, and there are also a few other videos by other sufferers of PoTS which really did help me. Number 1, get up more slowly. This would be, I think this is something that you just learn, because if you don't, then you tend to faint. So in general, if ever I get up from sitting or lying down, I do it gradually, but a tip that I wanted to share is that what I mean by getting up slowly is initially in the morning. That's often when PoTS is worse, because you're having to adjust to the postural change after being lying down for the whole night. So what I tend to do, it can be a bit time consuming, but usually it depends how good or bad my symptoms are, but I will usually take like half an hour on a good day to go from lying down. Then I'll like work my way up to kind of propped up in bed, and then I'll do I'll sit on the edge of the bed before I attempt to get up, and I find that it does make it better for the rest of the day, doing that initial get up more slowly. Number 2, do more tasks from sitting. So what has helped me with this is that I brought like my swivel office chair into like my main living space, because I thought that would be quite a practical thing to do. I didn't really have any other options, so I thought if it's there, then I'm more likely to use it. And the kind of tasks that I've managed to do from sitting, like I'll get dressed from sitting now, I'll clean from sitting, I will what else do I do? Get clean, cook, do the washing up from sitting, like pick out my clothes from the wardrobe from sitting. Like there's so many things, like pick up a book off a bookshelf, and also I find it useful to have a chair around to, like, I have to put my shoes on from sitting, or picking things up from the floor is easier from sitting. And I found that by doing that as much as possible, it does kind of conserve your energy for so that when you stand up, you can make the most of that time by doing things that are more enjoyable, like walking and getting out and about. That's just what I've found. I don't know, it might be more psychological, but I did find that it did make a difference. Number 3, get a shower seat. This was, I don't know, it felt like a really big step for me, because, I don't know, at the time I got a shower seat, I didn't even, it was quite early days in kind of the suspected diagnosis of PoTS. It wasn't really confirmed, but I guess I was facing a scenario where I just wasn't able to shower standing up. Like, very rarely could I do that, and yeah, and I'm a clean person, so I kind of do want to shower, but it was from that I would just get so dizzy from standing up, like with the heat and the steam. It's often quite a big trigger for people with PoTS, and it definitely was for me. And I remember, like, I think when you get something like a shower seat, you kind of feel like you're accepting the problem. Like, you can't sit in that denial that you do, that there is a problem, that you do have a disability. And it's also, I don't know, the look of having something like that in your home, it did feel like a really big step, but once I did it, I thought like, where have I been all my life? Because it made such a difference. I still can't like shower all the time, because sometimes even like just being upright and sitting in the steamy environment is like too much for me, but it has made such a difference. Like I wouldn't need so much recovery time after a shower. So yeah, and actually it's a really useful thing to have, like a shower seat. I'm actually sitting on it now. Like it's good to have if you need like just go and put a really simple stool out in like the middle of your living space. Yeah, I'll show you what it looks like, hopefully. Yeah, that's it. So yeah, it doesn't look like too clinical. It's just a simple one. It's like the standard one that you can order. I bought it myself from Amazon. It was quite inexpensive, and I've also got one at my parents', so then that means I can shower while I'm there. But yeah, it actually comes in really handy, like if you need just a seat here and there to use. And also in general, like with showering, this is something that I probably was doing already, but it gave me validation that this was okay, and that it does really help to bring like water into the shower with you to drink. Yeah, it can really help to like drink water before, even during and after. Yeah, that can make a bit of a difference. With showering as well, I usually have to have a bit of a lie down afterwards, but again that does like make a difference. So what I tend to do is that I have because having a shower is something that is like more challenging for me, and it does flare up my symptoms. I do it when my PoTS symptoms are at their best, so I usually have a shower quite late at night. That's kind of the only time that I can manage it, but I don't know, that might be helpful. I would say in general, doing like more activity late at night with PoTS does help. Like in the summer when it was lighter in the evenings, I would like do more of a walk as late as possible in the evenings, and I found that my ability to walk was better at that time. Number 4 kind of follows on from the shower type advice, but drink a lot of water. And again, this was something that I was already doing, but it gave me like the go ahead to say, yeah, that's fine, you can drink as much water as you like. I would say that is probably the main thing that really, really does help with PoTS. Actually, I need to drink now. Yeah, because I think I explained in one of my other videos that that's when I thought that there must have been something wrong, because I just was constantly thirsty, and yeah, drinking water really does help to manage PoTS. I know, like, I think they recommend like 3 to 4 litres of water a day, and I would say in the winter I'm probably nearer to 3 litres of water a day. It doesn't have to just be water, like it can be like other fluids and that kind of thing. And so I'd say in total I've probably had like 3 litres of fluids, but then in the in the summer then I will just like constantly drink, and it's probably nearer to 4 litres, but it really does help to manage it, especially like going out in hot weather. Found that like the best thing to do is to go out with as big a bottle of water that you can kind of carry without it getting too heavy. So I always like keep these smart water bottles, which are like 850 mils. In the summer I sometimes go for like a 1 litre bottle, but that is a bit heavier, and I usually get through, I'd say at the moment I'm probably getting through 3 of those a day, and then I might have like a couple of other drinks, like a hot drink or a smoothie as well. In the summer I get through like so many of those. Yeah, and I have a like water like filter jug, and that is really good because otherwise you find that you end up buying so much water when you're out. Number 5, I have to say this is probably something that I need to try a bit harder with. It's probably one that I know I should be doing, but probably I'm not doing so much, and it's like adding more salt to your diet, and because that's supposed to help like with your blood pressure. It raises your blood pressure, which does improve like PoTS. So yeah, I found that one a little bit difficult because I'm one of these people who really, I don't like the taste of salt on food so much. Like, I think my parents' generation, they sprinkle salt on everything, like every meal, but I find it takes like the taste away. So yeah, I have been trying here and there to do like, to put on a bit more salt to my meals where I can like stand the taste. There's all sorts of different guidance, like I don't really know how much salt I should be having. I think they recommend like up towards like 8 grams of salt a day for people with PoTS, but I've just basically tried to have a bit more. And yeah, I would say that I have noticed a difference, so it is worth doing. I'm just not doing it enough. I find the most practical way for me, if you like don't really like having to add salt to foods, and yeah, I was also recommended like to in the summer to take Diarrhea, like as a drink supplement, which it's something like they usually recommend for you to take if you've got diarrhea, because it like replaces the salts. But I didn't really get on with that so much. Like it didn't feel like a very natural way, and didn't really like the taste again. So what I tend to do is that when I have snacks, I try to make sure that they're like salty, so I will always carry out with me like a packet of crisps or salted popcorn, that kind of thing. I guess with all of this, it's just about trying the best you can, and if I make a conscious effort to introduce just a bit more salt, that's better than not having any at all. 6. This is again more dietary related, but to eat like small meals little and often, because yeah, like having a large meal, particularly a really carby meal, can trigger PoTS symptoms because it's harder to digest, and then that takes like the blood away from the heart, and like, yeah, anyway, I think I've explained it somewhere else. So yeah, this was something which was quite a big change for me, because I've had like, in the past I've had an eating disorder, and I found that I was more a person who would manage it better by having like 3 meals a day. I found snacking quite difficult. Yeah, to kind of like remember, I found it an easier routine to follow, basically having 3 clear meals a day. But I have managed to kind of change that up a bit, and the way I do it is that I will usually spread out my lunch across the day where I can. So instead of having like one main lunch, I will spread out the various elements of my lunch across the day. And I have found that makes a difference, especially like because during the middle of the day is usually when you'll be out and about most, and it makes a big difference in terms of like nausea as well, to be able to do that. I will just be a bit careful like with how large a meal I have. Like in the evenings I will have a proper dinner, and I just have to keep in mind that afterwards I have to like have a bit of a rest. But at the same time, like if there's an opportunity, like when I've gone out for a meal, I've sometimes asked to like take some back with me, so then I could spread it a little bit more. 7. This covers quite a lot, but pacing myself. I think that in general, like in terms of a lifestyle change, that's quite a big one, and it covers like a huge amount of areas. But the way I would kind of summarise it is that I am quite careful with the amount of activity I do, I just try to be realistic with it, so that if I've had a heavier day or my symptoms are particularly bad, I will have like a more restful day. I try to structure activities around like when my symptoms might be better, like because it generally improves throughout the day. So I will have like more of a restful morning, and then I might after lunch be able to kind of go out more and do the things that I enjoy and feel a bit better doing it. Like I'll try and arrange appointments more for the afternoons and yeah, do things like that. In general, when I'm going out and about, I will, it's funny, you get to know where all the benches are, because I find I have to work my way anywhere from like bench to bench, and yeah, because I can't walk a lot in one go, which is common with PoTS, and I don't usually have to have that long of a sit down, but I do, and it just kind of resets myself. Basically, when I kind of have any form of activity which is likely to flare up my symptoms, I will factor in like a period of rest. Something which helps me a lot when I'm out and about is that I will schedule in like that I'll have in mind that I could have a sit down like in a particular cafe. One thing that's been really good in one of like, it's actually my hometown, but in a town near me, which I think they need to put this out everywhere, is that I put it on my Twitter. I think I spoke about it on there. I might put it on my Instagram, like Insta story as well. Is that they've like created a communal living room in the shopping centre, which anyone can sit in for free, and it like actually gives you permission like to take off your shoes and like you can have a lie down, you can read, and it's amazing. Like every shopping centre really needs one. That would just make such a difference to people like me, and yeah, lots of people in different situations. So yeah, anyway, so in general, because that's not everywhere, I will like make sure that I factor in like a sit down in a particular cafe, and I tend to go measure, like I have my favourite cafes basically on the temperature inside, because with PoTS you have heat intolerance, so I tend to aim for like the very cool and quiet ones that usually no one wants to go in this time of year. I'll be really happy in. And when you like have a rest or like a sit down, it does help to rest up your legs, because that improves like circulation. And it's funny, I've found like, as in sometimes like you can rest up your legs like as in straight out in front of you, like rest them up on another chair or something like that. But I actually find that really uncomfortable, and I don't find it does so much for me. I don't really know why. What I actually find helps is to like take off my shoes and sit cross-legged on a seat. Sometimes I find that almost as beneficial as like having a full lie down. Right, number 8. Yeah, I've kind of, a lifestyle change is that I've kind of had techniques for managing standing and also prolonged sitting as well. To be honest, like a lot of it I was doing before, was some of it, because basically it just helps if you fidget, and I'm the world's worst fidget anyway, so that seems to work in my favour. You probably notice I don't ever sit that still. I find this quite difficult. So yeah, techniques for like managing standing, like, because there are times when you kind of can't avoid queuing or just being stood still, like waiting for traffic lights to change, that kind of thing. I find that, yeah, if I have to stand still and try and do it discreetly, I have like picked up something where you can like cross your legs like in front of yourself, so like just cross a foot over the front. Someone else probably explain this more, because I find that's more discreet. Saying that, some people think that you probably need a wee, so yeah, I'm not so sure on that, but it doesn't take like much energy. And yeah, what's like recommended, which I find quite hard to like explain or think about, is that like if you like kind of clench the muscles in your bum basically and like all your legs, I would say just in general it's like squeeze and like contract the muscles in like your legs and your backside, and that does tend to like, I don't know, keep yourself awake, I guess, or keep your legs, kind of the circulation and everything going. I would say in general, like when I stand, like if I have to queue or something like that, I will just like move around. That might be just transferring your weight slightly from side to side. I will go like up and down on my toes quite a bit. If you can lean on something while you're queuing, then that can help, just like, yeah, kind of having something to support you. When sitting, I find it helps just to change my position up, so I might like cross a leg, then uncross it. I do find that I have to like, what may help me in the long run is that, so if I have to be sitting for quite a long period of time, is that like kind of every 20 minutes or so I will stand up briefly, and it really only has to be briefly, and then I'll sit back down, and I find that that does make it easier when you have to like stand up to like leave or whatever. Sometimes like I can get distracted, so what I might do if I'm doing some work or something in a cafe, I'll set an alarm on my phone for 20 minutes just to remind me to have a quick stand up and sit down. Number 9. Yeah, this is more like to do with when you're out and about, but in general, using lifts instead of stairs. That's been quite a new thing for me, and again, I think some of it is accepting that you do have a problem there, because I've explained in other videos, but basically going up a flight of stairs for someone with PoTS can feel like a complete workout, and it can like really make you breathless and flare you up, and if you can avoid that, then it makes such a difference to like energy levels. So yeah, I will use lifts where possible, and if I have no choice to use stairs, then I just take it steady, and like in the break between flights I often kind of like have a bit of a breather and try and take deep breaths. Yeah, so using lifts wherever you can is great. I'm quite lucky in that I live on ground floor, so I don't have to manage stairs in my daily life, yeah, which is a bit lucky. Number 10. This is more of like a mindset, but I would say in general, like a lifestyle change I've made is that I try to be happy with less. I don't, and by that I mean I don't try to expect so much of myself. I think it is important to like have goals and be motivated, but at the same time I think like with pacing yourself and everything like that, it's important to feel as though you can change plans, because the thing is that like you can plan all you want to pace things properly, but there can be unexpected things that happen that might flare up your symptoms, like having to wait in a queue longer than you're expecting. That happened to me the other day at the post office. Yeah, so little things like that you can't avoid, and like PoTS can be unpredictable. So I think it's about being kind to yourself and feeling like if you've had a hard day with it, be prepared to change up plans. And also, like, I think I mentioned this in my video where I was talking about like kind of how I try to remain positive, like in the face of chronic illness. Yeah, my advice would be to like, well, what I try to do is focus on all the things that I can still do, all the things that I still can enjoy. So if my biggest achievement for the day is to just manage like a 20-minute walk with breaks, but it's nice weather and like the sun's shining, then that's what's important. That makes me happy. And yeah, not expecting too much of yourself. Like sometimes my biggest like achievement of the day is that I am able to make the journey myself on the train from like my flat to my parents, and it takes a lot out of me, and in the past it was something like I wouldn't even think of, so I think that's where it can be quite difficult. But Yeah, and I think it's important to recognise that as an achievement, like all the little things. So yeah, it's like focusing on the small things in life and what you can do and what you can manage, rather than all like the things you're missing out on. There's probably other like lifestyle things that I've come up with, and if or just have kind of worked their way into my life and I'm probably not even aware that I do. I would be really interested to hear if there's anything else that people have found has really helped with PoTS. And I hope that you found this helpful and it's given you like a few ideas. I was thinking like with timing, a lot of people try to make lifestyle changes in the new year. I'm not someone who does that. I rarely have a New Year's resolution because I just tend to make them other times. Yeah, I'm not into like, I don't know, occasions and that kind of thing. But yeah, as it's like a time where people often try to introduce like new changes, I thought, yeah, this probably is the time to share what's helped me. Yeah, I'm mindful that I don't know when I'll post this video. It'll definitely be like before the new year. And yeah, I'm mindful like it's the Christmas, getting towards the Christmas period, and I haven't really like even touched on that. I'm looking a little bit festive, but that's kind of as far as it goes for me. Unfortunately, I'm not one of these I actually find the Christmas period for various reasons quite difficult. And I find a lot of the people on YouTube, which I do like to see, like they're saying, oh, like how they're so excited for Christmas and everything like that. I'm excited for a break. Like, I feel like my Christmas kind of, I don't know, my holiday period starts today because I'm going to my parents. I'm going to spend some time there, and yeah, I find that like all the preparations and lead up to Christmas are so, like, that's what I find stressful. So yeah, I'm quite looking forward to it as a break. But I think why I'm sharing this is because it's absolutely okay to not be the most festive person in the world. Like, it's okay to, I don't know, like, not be crazy about Christmas, and some people don't even celebrate it. So, but in any case, however you're choosing to spend like the holiday period, I hope it's a really peaceful and joyful time for you. I know it can be quite a difficult time of year for other people, so yeah, be kind to yourself, and I hope that you have a good one, and hopefully you'll hear from me again in the new year. Okay, bye.